Talk movies! Movie friends!
The rules of engagement have changed. If you can't identify the target, you are the target.
Welcome, friends. Welcome back to the Movie Friends podcast with Pete and Steve here. And we're just going to talk about some news, some stuff that's going on. Steve, let's see. You told me that the Game of Thrones and the Watchmen writers and producers, what's his name, Benioff, and the other guy, they're not doing
like Weiss. I'm not sure what their names are.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Benioff.
But yeah, so they had a Star Wars trilogy happening, but apparently that got derailed. It's completely dead now.
Was it supposed to be like episode like 10, 11, and 12 or something? Like was it continuing off of the J.J. Abrams like trilogy?
I have no idea because they say the saga's ending. I don't know if this is supposed to be like their own trilogy because Ryan Johnson's doing a trilogy too. So I don't really know whose is whose. Actually,
I don't know.
I think Ryan Johnson might actually be a Knights of the Old Republic trilogy. So I'm not sure what they were doing.
I don't want them to keep continuing from the J.J. Abrams one, so kind of glad, unless it was like their own separate trilogy of something else, but that would just be too much. I feel like they should just now do these like standalone movies that they're doing rather than start a whole new fucking saga, but that's just me.
I feel like Star Wars in general like lends itself to like a long-term storyline. So like the Disney Plus shows, I think worked well. I mean, hopefully they're good. None of them have actually been aired yet, but
yeah. Well, speaking of which, they just dropped the Mandalorian trailer, the new trailer. I guess this is the last one before the show airs. But it looks pretty sweet. I'm stoked.
It's about 11 days, right? It's on the 12th.
The 12th, yeah, of November. Yeah, but it looks.
It's the
really
only
good.
launch. It's the only launch show that Star Wars has, I think.
Yeah, for Star Wars, I believe. There's a whole bunch of shows that are launching, but yeah, Star Wars. I'm pretty sure that's it, because they're not doing that Cassian Andor show right away.
Yeah,
but
apparently
I'm pumped. It's got a good cast.
Apparently, the Obi-Wan series might come out before the Andor series.
Oh, true. And the rumors that I don't know if it's past rumor status now, but Ewan McGregor is going to be Obi-Wan.
Yeah, no, he's returning. Apparently, what's that actor from Warrior, the MMA movie that played his uncle, Luke Skywalker's uncle.
Luke Skywalker's uncle.
Oh, Joel Edgerton. Yeah, apparently.
Him. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Aside from those two, I don't know who's going to be in it.
Okay. True. So they're kind of mixing in the episode 1, 2, and 3 into the mix a little bit. Don't know how people feel about that.
I mean, up until now, they did it. They put Darth Maul in Solo. I mean, I think that was the only other time.
That's true.
Spoiler alert, I guess.
Yeah, but whatever. The movie's been out for how long now? If you're a Star Wars fan and haven't seen Solo yet, then fuck.
2 years.
Sorry about that. But anyways, going back to what we were talking about, yeah, they're not those writers aren't. But I have been watching Watchmen, from Benioff and Weiss. They're doing Watchmen, and it's pretty sweet so far. So even though Game of Thrones was shit at the end, I don't know. This looks promising.
So they're 2 episodes into Watchmen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the
episode one
first
was
one.
yeah, episode 1 was good, but I still didn't like have a feel of how I was feeling about the show. But episode 2 was pretty dope. So I'm definitely gonna continue watching it, but I'm kind of biased because I'm a huge Watchmen fan. But yeah, it's a great show. Any on HBO is dope.
Yeah, I'm gonna continue watching it, but I don't know. There's something about the way the movie was presented that I feel like this has to drag me in story wise. I mean, it's only 1 episode, so
Yeah, that's true. So we'll see, but yeah, I don't know if they would how they would do with Star Wars, but and Rise of Skywalker trailer as well. That also came out, and that looks pretty sweet. The visuals in it alone were so dope, like that ice planet or whatever. Yeah, it looks great, and there's a lot of unanswered questions that I really really hope they talk about, which they probably will. They obviously will.
yeah, I'm still not sure how the Emperor plays into it. It's kind of odd.
Yeah, like that, and I don't know, but I didn't like Last Jedi that much. Um, but I'm curious to see how they tie up all these loose ends, see where they go. But yeah, the Emperor. There was something in the. Oh yeah, I didn't like how they spoil the. I don't know, something heavy is gonna happen with C-3PO. They showed a little too much in the trailer, but it still looks awesome nonetheless.
Yeah, I didn't read too much into the C3PO scene because I mean, how many times in a movie are people about to go into some third act battle and one person says something dramatic like that and they're completely fine at the end of it?
Yeah, but I could have gone without it, and I guess I feel like hopefully they're smart enough that if they decided to show that in the trailer, that means nothing's really going to happen. But what if something does? It was pretty
Yeah, I
heavy.
mean
It was
now,
like I just
but
want to
now
see
it's.
all of you. I just want to see all of you one last time, like all my friends one last time. Like they could have just left that out. I feel.
I mean, you can look at it either way. Now you're just mind fucking yourself, thinking, is something gonna happen because they showed something was gonna happen, or is something not gonna happen because they want us to think something's gonna happen? You're just gonna lose sleep
Yeah.
over it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see when it comes out in December, and I'm just excited to see what they do with all the characters and stuff. My boy Poe, Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac has made. I mean, he's made some poor choices and characters to play lately, but whatever.
What are you talking
I mean,
about?
I actually liked him, Adam's Family, so he's back in my good graces. But Apocalypse was a mess.
If you were an actor and someone offered you the role of Apocalypse, you wouldn't take it? What are you, nuts?
Well, I mean, did he take it and just be like, don't worry, I won't read the script because I mean, it was a really bad role.
Well, he probably saw all the other, like, First Class and Days of Future Past, and was like, all right, these guys know what they're doing. Now they want me to come and be their villain, so I'm gonna do it. And he didn't see what was gonna happen, but you can't fault him for that one role. He's a great actor. He's a fantastic actor, and you're crazy.
I mean, okay, yeah, he is a fantastic actor, but he pretty much he clearly didn't read the script because his whole thing was walking around saying hate speeches and
Maybe
then
he
fighting
didn't,
at the
but
end.
maybe he didn't. But if you watch Batman Begins and then Dark Knight, and then they came to you for Dark Knight Rises and was like, "Hey, you want to be Bane? Are you gonna be like, I gotta read the script first?" No, you're just probably just gonna be like, yeah, I'll do it. Maybe you should read the script first. I'm not saying if you're an actor you shouldn't read your scripts before you accept the role, but in that instance, I feel like you can have enough, you can feel like it's
But
gonna
I
it's
mean,
gonna be good, but yeah.
I mean,
it
they were going to
wasn't.
disagree
I
because
agree.
X-Men movies are up and down. Like, at no point, I mean, sure, they came off Days of
They've
Future
had a
Past,
pretty
but,
good
like,
track record up until
they were
then.
on and off. I mean,
It had a
X-Men
good track record up until then.
Origins came out before that, not directly before that. X-Men 3 came out before that, not directly before that. So there was bad X-Men movies. You'd figure a guy like Oscar Isaac, with his caliber of acting, would be like, yeah, let me read the script. Why not? I like X-Men.
I don't know, man. I
But
think
it
you're just
seems
being
like
hard on him.
he had to be. I mean, he had to be on shrooms. There's no way.
Okay, now that's a stretch.
Shrooms.
Now you're just, man. I feel like he could have accepted that with faith because it's part of the First Class like trilogy. It doesn't really have to do with Origins or the other ones. It's part of, you know, it's First Class, Days of Future Past, and then it was Apocalypse. So he thought, all right, the last two were dope. This is the third one. I'm definitely gonna do it. And he's a young
I mean,
actor, man, getting offered a role in a Marvel movie. Like, come on.
I don't know. He made his mark. So I mean, he didn't have to take anything just to like make a point. I mean, if anything, it's probably a big paycheck. Why he just accepted it and possibly read it and was like convinced. Oh yeah, it's gonna play better than the script.
Well, no, he's probably a fan of the source material as well. It's not just a paycheck. You're making this guy out to be such a piece of shit.
I'm not saying he wasn't a fan of the X-Men. I'm just saying, maybe the script wasn't even that good, but big paycheck. You can't fault the guy. I'm not going to blame him saying he's all about paychecks. I'm going to say he took a leap of faith. There's a big number on the paycheck. Like, you'd have to wonder how Jessica Chastain agreed to be in Dark Phoenix. Like, everyone's just swinging for the fences on these Oscar caliber actors, and these people are just taking the roles. Clearly, there's some money involved.
It was probably the same thing with her. She was like, okay, the last two were sick. Last three. Actually, yeah, that came out after Apocalypse. Never mind. But still. Yeah, I kind of derailed my point there. But
Okay, I mean,
but
aside from
yeah, I
that,
don't know.
let's maybe move on. But speaking of Oscar Isaac, because he's actually rumored for some of the Batman roles, but they actually cast the Riddler, Paul Dano. I know you're a fan of him.
Yeah, that was like such a good choice. I didn't even like think about him at all, like because we've had conversations like, oh, who would you cast? But I just never even thought about him. And then once I saw it, I was like, man, what a good choice. Yeah, I'm so happy with that. Um, Even though as you know, and people may know, I always fucking stink on the DCU because it's shit. But that's a good choice they made for this Batman movie. So, uh, little light of hope right there.
I
And
mean,
Jonah Hill, I feel like would have just been a really weird Riddler. Maybe Penguin, but Riddler, I don't know. Even Penguin, like I just feel like Jonah Hill, can't picture him as like a DC
yeah,
villain.
Jonah Hill has like 2 Academy Award nominations, so like that's like me taking a leap of faith that he's a good actor, he'll figure something out. But there's so many things going around that he wanted to play the Riddler, they wanted him for Penguin, and he also wanted to be paid double what Robert Pattinson's being paid to be Batman. He wanted $10 million, and Robert Pattinson's being paid $5 million. So I don't know where you go start. You start
Yeah, that's kind of
like
ridiculous. I
asking
feel like,
for
come
offers
on.
like that.
Yeah. Especially like it's Robert Pattinson. Like, no offense to Jonah Hill, but Robert Pattinson, he's also he's a good actor. He's been in a lot of like blockbusters and shit too. So yeah, I feel like 5 for each of you is totally fair. But yeah, I feel like Jonah Hill would just be weird. I can't really see him in any of those roles. But Paul Dano, great choice.
And I mean, it's clearly not going to be that. I don't think it's going to be that big of a role. I think all of them are going to have like longer glorified cameos, like within the story. So I mean, I'm sure Paul Dano's going to be happy with a $5 million paycheck and not just hold out for an ungodly sum of money.
Yeah, he's a good actor, but he's not in a lot of like he's in a lot of indie stuff. He has been in a lot of big big movies too, but he's in a lot of indie
Would you
stuff.
call There Will Be Blood indie, or I mean that was more of like a commercial movie, but it was low budget.
No, There Would Be Blood. No, I wouldn't say that's very indie, but just like he's in a lot of just
Prisoners
like
was
artsy drama movies. But I haven't really seen him in anything like too recently, to be
yeah. Like, I
honest.
mean, the only big time movie he was actually in, like probably Prisoners that I can think of. I don't think he's been in like a lot of those showy movies.
He wrote and directed. He wrote and directed, and I think was in it too. But he wrote and directed this movie that came out recently. I forgot what it's called, but yeah, it came out like last year, or maybe within this year. But yeah, he's a good choice for the Riddler. He's got that like look. He's kind of in a lot of the movies he's been in. He plays that like weird, kind of creepy guy. So very good choice.
Yeah, I think the movie you're talking about came out last year's Wildlife. I haven't seen it, but I remember someone actually brought it up, talking about this specific thing.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. That's probably it. Yeah. But
yeah,
great.
Yeah, I don't know where Jonah Hill gets off asking for double the lead character, but yeah, I mean Paul Dano's gonna do a good job. I can't wait
hope
to
they
see
just don't put too many villains in the movie, like what they did with Amazing Spider-Man 2 or something. Like to just put too many characters, then make it not like I don't know, make sense or cohesive enough.
I mean, it depends on
Just
how you
overpopulate the whole movie.
depends on how you plan to use them, but I know there's six villains that he's going to come across trying to solve a main crime that doesn't necessarily gravitate towards any individual character he meets. He's just looking for information, and it's just like kind of like a
so many
introduction. I mean, and then, okay, when I say six villains too, Two-Face, it could be Harvey Dent, and not actually Two-Face. I know they said Harvey Dent Two-Face, but he might not even be Two-Face in the movie, meaning he's just supporting cast.
But I feel like if you're just introducing all these like all six of these villains in this one movie, it's like eliminating the like the element of surprise in your next Batman movies when you introduce like Two-Face or there's Penguin, like you're introducing like every villain, all the main villains in one movie. It kind of takes it away from all their future movies that they might make, in my opinion.
I mean, it could and it couldn't. I mean, Batman has like 40 solid, like he is probably the best rogues gallery, like aside from like Spider-Man. They're both up there. I mean, you could balance out all these characters in a movie and maybe have it lead to something like an Arkham Asylum movie where everything's gonna be thrown at him and you've met them and they're gonna possibly do it in a way that, I mean, they're gonna clearly pick good actors for these roles. So
yeah, exactly. But then it's like you said with Arkham Asylum, like you played that game, which was awesome, and you face all these villains and stuff, and then but in the next games when you see the same villains, you're just like, oh, okay, it's you again. So like in the movies, if you're introducing all the villains, and if the six villains they introduce are probably going to be like his bigger ones, you introduce them all. If you see them again, like it just takes away from the next movie, and then the next movie they're going to have to use like some B-list villains that you haven't heard of, or I don't know. I just feel like it's too much. Maybe like 2 or 3, but like all of them, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, casting Paul Dano, I feel like the Riddler is going to be one of the main ones. He'll probably get quite a bit of time, but like the Penguin could be a mob boss that he comes across looking for some information. Doesn't even necessarily have to be a big character. Two-Face might just be Harvey Dent, which erases the clutter of a bunch of bad guys, and like I know Firefly is going to be in it. The movie could open up with him taking someone down just to just set a precedent for like his skill set. We saw it in Batman v Superman, him taking out a room of like 17 guys, but they're just thugs.
Yeah. Yeah, but
So I mean,
I'm
if
I'm
the
a
movie
little
opens
more.
up and you take away, if the movie opens up and you take away one of the bad guys immediately, uh, it it narrows down how much clutter you think there might be for a bunch of villains, but also like Hush is the guy that can mimic someone's face, right? Like he'll sew together a face that looks like someone.
Right.
So I mean, who knows? Maybe, like, I mean, realistically, if you did Hush in a Batman movie, if someone has a sewn together Riddler face, I think you catch on that it isn't actually the guy who the Riddler is. So it possibly can't just be one guy covering all those characters as like a plot twist. But
Well, I'm assuming, like, since they made this big announcement about the Riddler being cast, I'm assuming the Riddler is going to be, the main the main villain of the story. Uh, but yeah, if they kind of went with the Hush, not the storyline like word for word, but if they took things from Hush, that would be pretty sweet. Or
and I
put
mean,
him in the
they
movie.
have like I don't know where they're gonna go with it. If they decide that maybe he's getting a bunch of information, it's kind of like a who done it, then like Hush. I mean, Hush is a possibility, but
But yeah,
like also Paul
it
Dano being
would.
the Riddler doesn't even necessarily mean he's going to be the main bad guy because if he's running around trying to solve a crime, I don't necessarily think him being cast first means he's the guy that did it, or it's kind of anticlimactic. You already know that he's looking for the Riddler, unless that's the way they're going to market it, and there's just a bigger thing that has to be solved.
Well, usually when they announce like the casting, like, oh, so and so's Batman, so and so's Catwoman, Riddler. Usually those characters are the ones playing like a prominent role. I'm just assuming.
Yeah, who knows? Not, I mean, not necessarily, but it could be.
Yeah, but I'm a little more excited for it now, going into it. Um,
Yeah, I
yeah, I
mean,
just don't know what to expect really.
Batman's my favorite superhero, so not even super, but yeah, I find him the most interesting.
Favorite
So
DC
hopefully,
character?
well, I mean, Superman's up there too, but there's something about him being human. He has a few more faults. You can kind of relate
Superman is
to a
just
human
like
being more.
he's just too
Super,
OP and godly for anyone to say he's my favorite. I don't know.
I mean, I see. I like the way
That's
they do
another
they do
whole
it
other
with Man of
conversation.
Steel. Like even he doesn't like want to be looked at as a god, but he is, and that's what he's dealt.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily even like the Christopher Reeve Superman. Like, I mean, in its time, I probably would have liked them, but I don't see how people look at Henry Cavill and say that's not my Superman because he's dealing with some heavy shit. Like, especially the murder thing at the end. Like, what are you supposed to do? You want him to not murder just so he can preserve what you think of Superman, but he's gonna let a family of five be incinerated in front of him. Like,
Yeah.
I don't see. You have no option. They literally wrote it perfectly so that he had no other option. And I
Well,
mean,
that's
I'm
the
pretty sure
thing. They're
he
complaining
killed
about
in
the writing in
Superman 2.
general. They're
I'm
just
pretty sure he
complaining
killed
about the
Zod
writing
in
in general
Superman
because they
2.
made it too dark.
Yeah, no, murder is this big issue with him, but I'm pretty sure he kicked Zod into like a icy hole in the Fortress of Solitude in the Donner cut or whatever. So I mean,
Yeah.
he's murdered. He murdered in their favorite one. So
But
yeah.
I just want a Green Lantern movie, for fuck's sakes.
Actually, I'll just bring it up now. But like these scoopers all over Twitter, one of the more prominent ones, just tweeted a tease of a Green Lantern ring. So maybe something's happening with that. I know they've been writing it for about a year. So you might get
Nice.
what
Yeah,
you
because
wish for.
Batman is your guy. Green Lantern is my dude. He's my favorite DC superhero for sure. And Even
I
though
know
I
when
don't
we
like
saw,
this DCU stuff,
I know
I
when we
just still
saw
want a Green
Justice
Lantern
League,
movie.
that one scene actually brought a smile to your face.
It did, yeah.
Actually, remember, I'm
Seeing
not even
the
gonna call it it's the Justice League. It's not. Zack Snyder did not direct that movie.
uh, yeah, but that scene, that flashback scene or whatever, yeah, that was dope. And you saw the
And
ring just fly off.
the worst part about that flashback scene is that scene was gonna be like 7.5 minutes long. You would have Ares with dialogue. Darkseid was gonna be in it, and then it got cut down to like a minute and a half of just random
Not even. It
tidbits.
was like 40 seconds of them,
Yeah,
like
for yeah, actually,
montage of
yeah.
them just fighting.
I just doubled it pretty much.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But yeah, the only good part of that ass movie. But let's talk about a good movie. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Um, I know it's I know we're not reviewing it or anything because it's way too late. But we're talking about some a little news that China won't play Once Upon a Time in Hollywood unless Bruce Lee's scene is removed, and of course Quentin Tarantino refused. So I just thought that was kind of funny. I don't know why they would want, like, I do know why they wanted to have it removed, but like they really need to lighten up a little bit, and the whole like Winnie the Pooh thing as well. It's getting out of hand.
I mean, I just watched the South Park episode with Winnie the Pooh. I don't know if you caught that yet.
Is it the new season? Because I haven't watched any of
Yeah, it's the new season. Yeah, Winnie the Pooh
No.
is like a prisoner of war in China. He gets out, he starts wandering the city. But I'm not gonna
uh, yeah, don't spoil
tell
it,
you.
but that's
Yeah,
hilarious. I was just
but
talking
yeah, it's like
to one of our mutual friends yesterday, and he told me that the new season started like a couple weeks ago. I didn't even realize.
yeah, it's.
But that
I mean,
sounds
I just watched
hilarious.
that
But
one
yeah,
episode.
this whole man, it's getting kind of out of hand.
Yeah, I mean, like if Tarantino put Chuck Norris into this scene and spoiler alert, but Brad Pitt beats the shit out of Chuck Norris, China would have no issue playing it. But I mean, this movie is a fantasy. What happens in the movie isn't like isn't what actually occurred. So I don't see how there's an issue with a fictional character beating the shit out of Bruce Lee.
Yeah,
To
and
the
people
point
all
to the point of your country is offended.
are butthurt because they made him seem like they made Bruce Lee seem like a cocky kind of like snobby
Yeah, he's
brat
an
or
arrogant
whatever.
douchebag. But like,
Yeah,
I
which
still
is like
liked
the
him because it's
complete.
Bruce Lee. I still liked him as a character.
Yeah, but the whole point is this is like an alternate reality. So he's like the opposite of how he really was in real life, because in real life he was literally like the complete opposite of that. So that's why they kind of did that, because this is Tarantino's like alternate reality of Hollywood in that time. So he made him like, you know, cocky and arrogant, and he got his ass whooped by Brad Pitt. But like, I don't know. I just I don't want to get into all the politics of the thing, but like it's just you just gotta have a sense of humor about these things.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
can.
think it's
Tarantino's
hilarious
totally
because
the guy who's just like, fuck that.
like
No, I'm not taking that scene out. Fuck them.
yeah, like China clearly doesn't know Tarantino because Tarantino's not going to do shit for you.
Yeah, he probably heard that news and was like, okay, all right, I'm not taking the scene out now. Fuck them. So with good reason. But
Yeah, it's
it,
just ridiculous. China's every time they'll refuse to place something with witchcraft in it. Like this is just
yeah,
as ridiculous.
and then their president or whoever their leader was getting compared as Winnie the Pooh, so he banned images of Winnie the Pooh. It's just like, come on, man. But
Yeah,
if
I
you
mean I
haven't seen
haven't seen
Once Upon a
side by
Time in
side.
Hollywood,
Does
go
he
see it.
actually
It's a
look
good
like Winnie the
movie.
Pooh or?
No, I don't even know. Not really. Like, it's not even that
Is he
much.
round? Does he have enough? Does he have?
Yeah, he's just a little round and no, not that I know of. I mean, I love Honey. I'm sure he loves Honey too, but not as much as good old Pooh Bear. But
Yeah,
yeah,
like, I I feel bad for his staff because like what if he likes a little bit of honey on his toast in the morning or something, and he's eating in front of his waiter staff, and they chuckle. Next thing you know, disappears. The family doesn't know where the husband went.
they're like, oh, here we go. I feel like just a lot of their populace like like just like anywhere, just like in North America, like a lot of their population are probably big fans of Winnie the Pooh, and now they are just like, all right, they're boycotting my my childhood friend.
Yeah, I mean
But I definitely
it's
got to watch that South Park episode. That sounds hilarious.
yeah. I kind of like
That's
I like
funny.
the way that they have connected tissue in their episodes. So I kind of wish I watched the couple before that. So I'll probably go back and watch those.
All their episodes, all their show, like yeah, all their episodes are just about current events of what's happening, and it's just so funny. And I don't know if they still do it, but they make an episode in 6 fucking days. There's a whole like
Okay, so
documentary about.
because I'm wondering how they have such a relevant episode for certain world events, like every single
Yeah,
time. You know that.
there's a documentary called 6 Days to Air, and basically it just follows them making an episode, and yeah, they do it all in 6 days. It's pretty crazy. Like they write it, animate it, and everything in 6 days.
Are they
Which
still on
is like
Comedy
so
Central?
stressful. Huh?
They're still
Yeah,
on
I think
Comedy
so.
Central. So I guess
Yeah.
Comedy Central just allows they give them kind of like a sort of like a YouTube structure where like YouTube will do something like that, bring something relevant out and drop it. I guess Comedy Central is really lenient with them just dropping episodes out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, I think now how he does it is literally he'll just think about stuff happening, and then when it's like Monday morning, he goes in, he's like, all right, I have this whole list of shit. They pick one and they're like, all right, and then they just start writing it, and yeah, that's just so stressful to me though. Like that's crazy. I don't know if they still do it like that, but yeah, that's how they've been doing it since back in the day, and yeah, it's crazy.
I mean,
But
hopefully,
great show.
hopefully they'll get a Bruce Lee episode in, and just mock China a little more because I enjoy it. I mean, they should have a little sense of humor in it. It's pretty funny. I mean, if they made fun of Canada for something
Oh
stupid
yeah.
we did, I'd be okay with it.
No, they would definitely just ban that episode of South Park for sure.
Well, I mean, I'd
That
be
Winnie the
okay
Pooh
with it,
one.
but
Even the Winnie the Pooh one is probably already banned because it has an image of Winnie the Pooh.
South Park's probably been banned in that country since like halfway
Yeah.
through their tenure.
Yeah, I don't
'Cause
even
I'm
know
sure
what to
it's not the
say. They've
first time
probably
they've
been
made
banned.
fun. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not the first time they've been pissed at South Park. Aside from that, though, I mean, we'll move on because I can talk about this stuff all day. But
We could talk about
Tarantino
China
specifically.
all day.
No, Tarantino, because like I mean, there's so many hilarious videos of the paparazzi catching him on the street, and he just he just gives no fucks.
Yeah, and
Like
apparently he's
you're
into
not gonna
food.
get him to do you're not gonna get him to do anything he doesn't want to do.
Yeah, I love watching him at like press things and like when people ask him dumb questions.
Yeah,
I
you
forgot
ever
what
see the
someone
one with
asked
the
him. Like, well, I think it was for Once Upon a Time, and they asked like why. I think it was like why Margot didn't have like a more prominent role or something like that, and he was just like, well, I just reject your question, and just moved on to the next person. I was like, all right, good on you, man.
the best one was he got off in like the coldest part of Russia, and TMZ was there. He's walking through having a coffee. This guy gets in his face. He punches the paparazzi in the face, and the paparazzi. Like it's a situation where like he's gonna be charged
I
or
didn't even
something. Like
hear about that.
he played it off, and the paparazzi was so confused by the situation, nothing ever came of it. He just like
That's
he punched
hilarious.
the guy in the face, and I'm pretty sure
That's impressive.
Watch the video. And what's more impressive is he
Pull that
punches
off.
the guy in the face, camera turns around, turns back around, he's like a quarter mile away from the camera. Like he's the fastest man alive.
Oh, I'm starting it? Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, he's pretty funny. He just gives 0 fucks.
Nah, I can do it.
We'll move on to the next topic. I mean, we're gonna do some gaming stuff on the channel, but Call of Duty Modern Warfare came out, and we both actually had time to beat the game, play quite a bit of the multiplayer. So, what did you think about it?
Yeah, guys, we also play games. Whoa. Yeah, it was a good good game. Definitely, because I boycotted. Like I haven't played. Well, I got Black Ops 4, but that was free. But before that, I haven't bought a Call of Duty since like Black Ops 2, just because I thought they started getting really bad. I didn't like all the jumping off walls and all that kind of stuff. So I haven't played Call of Duty in a long time. But this one, I played the beta, and I was like, you know what? It feels and looks different. It actually, like, you know, your guns actually have recoil now. So I picked up this one, and yeah, it's good. And the campaign was pretty awesome too. A lot of like pretty crazy, you know, somewhat controversial stuff that happens in the campaign as well. But yeah, overall I like it. It's a good game. I like the multiplayer too.
We'll probably give it some sort of rating out of our usual 10 after this. But yeah, when I played through the campaign, you know, maybe I should have listened to a little more of their like marketing, but like I had no idea if this was a remake or like how it played into it. So I was playing it, and I kept comparing it to the campaign in the original Modern Warfare, thinking this is supposed to replace the other one. But I mean, in the end, obviously this connects in some way, but doesn't replace the other campaign. So by the end, I was a little more continuation or prequel.
All right, well, because now if we start talking about this,
and now we both got something. We both got something different from it. So I mean, whoever listens to this can make their own decision on how it plays into it. But yeah,
but actually, no, I think you're right. I think it is a prequel, but I don't know. We'll talk about it in maybe another time, so we don't spoil it. Because it literally just came out. But yeah, and that would explain some other things too, because I was not a fan of how, like, I thought Captain Price, because it's not a spoiler that he's in the game, he's on the fucking cover. I thought that Captain Price being back, the story would, you know, kind of revolve more around him, which I didn't really feel. I felt like he was kind of more of a side dude, but
yeah, he's one of 5 characters.
That was like my only note for the campaign. But yeah, the multiplayer feels much better than a lot of the last Call of Duties I played, and we're probably going to play some after we finish wrapping this episode. But yeah, it's a good game.
I'm not like the campaign opens up with I guess they open with a little shock value, but like aside from that, I felt like the original one, like I'm glad it's not trying to replace it, because I kept putting them side by side and thinking not a lot is happening here. The original one was better. Like this, how is this a reboot? Turns out, I mean, they play together as separate games. But I thought the story missions were way too short. That was one issue I had. Like they were like 5-minute missions, and also they didn't stay with one character for that long. I mean, I think one of the main characters you stayed with for quite a bit, but you don't learn anything about him. You don't really.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't really make you like the character in any way, because you don't really know anything about him. I'm just doing things as him, but he doesn't really have any personality.
But I did like a lot of the missions, the story missions, like especially like some of the night vision ones. Those were awesome. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, the night vision one and the cutscenes. The cutscenes were unreal. Like the graphics in the story cutscenes were crazy.
Yeah,
like sometimes sometimes I couldn't even. There were times where like I could hardly even tell whether it was like, you know, real life or CG. The cutscenes were crazy, and even the in-game, like the gameplay graphics are much better than last Call of Duties too. Like with the lighting and all that kind of stuff, looks way better.
Yeah, I mean,
But yeah,
story mode.
I don't
I'm not
remember
necessarily
much from
going to
Call
go
of Duty
back
4,
around and
like story wise.
There's a lot of like
I
a
should
lot of
play it again.
scenes in the campaign that actually like stood out and were memorable. Like when you're trying to escape, escape. I don't know if you were in like Iraq or something, but that nuke goes off when you fail to stop the nuke, and your guy's just wandering around, and you end up just falling over. Then your guy's
Right,
KIA.
yeah.
Yeah, kind of like gives a little impact to the story. This one sort of was just a mission. Do your
Yeah,
thing.
the Call
Nothing
of Duty
really.
campaigns are really good. Black
Yeah,
Ops
it's sort
1
of like they're
was
sort
the
of like
best
short and sweet
campaign.
storylines, sort of like a cinematic, like interactive movie.
Yeah. Yeah, they're great. And Black Ops 1 was my favorite. Like, that campaign was so good. Not even
Black
just
Ops
one of
One
my
was really
favorite
good.
Call of Duty campaigns, just one of my favorite campaigns in general, to be honest.
Yeah, it was really good. I'd probably lean towards World at War was my favorite one. I like the World War, like the more dated
Yeah, I like World
aspect of
War
that.
II stuff.
Not all the
Yeah.
gadgets.
Yeah, I like World War II stuff. Even though Call of Duty World War II was not so good. World at War, yeah, that's one of my favorite games. But I should play the
How,
Modern Warfare campaigns again. I haven't played them in a long time. I do remember that crazy part in the second one where you're literally shooting up an airport. That was pretty gnarly.
yeah, oh yeah, no Russian. I remember the name of that mission too.
Yeah.
Good play on word. But how
I
do you feel
think
about the
at first
multiplayer?
the multiplayer of this game, yeah, it's
Yeah,
good. It feels different. I like the new game mode Cyber Attack. They kind of
yeah,
took
more so about the game modes. I'm talking like I know it feels different. I actually tried Gunfight today. Thought Gunfight was pretty fun. 2-on-2, fast paced. You pretty much know where everyone's gonna appear, so it's a rush. It's a rush to decide what you're gonna do, and you don't choose your weapons.
yeah, it's like a tiny little map.
Yeah,
2-on-2, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, Cyber Attack, where it's pretty much search and destroy, but you guys can revive each other. So it's kind of like that game mode in Rainbow Six Siege. Um, but yeah, that game was fun. What other game? Oh, the Ground War. So there's like vehicles and stuff now, which is dope. Like tanks
yeah. I
and
learned
stuff.
that yesterday out of nowhere. I didn't know there was vehicles until I had an ATV just staring me down. Killed a guy on it. Just ghost rides into me. Wasn't
Yeah,
wasn't. I mean, I
yeah.
was impressed
ATVs are
that
kind of
that they actually
useless.
have vehicles again. So
Yeah,
yeah, I don't even know why you
that's what I
get
like
on
about
with.
this game. This game kind of went back to its roots, not only with like Modern Warfare, but with other Call of Duties, like having vehicles and all that kind of stuff. I think the older, I could be wrong, but the older Call of Duties, like the World War II ones, had a version,
Yeah,
like a
there's
game mode where it was like more people with tanks and stuff.
yeah they had ground war and World at War. There's tanks. I remember you had to drop like anti-tank mines on the ground to like derail the tread.
Yeah, right, yeah. So I'm glad they went back to that.
Yeah. One other thing that annoys me about this game is there's no battle royale like blackout mode. But
Yeah,
I know
Blackout
you
was,
said
yeah.
you heard something about it. I looked it up. There's nothing official about it, but there's apparently there was data in the code that brought up like battle royale. So I
Yeah,
guess there's potential for there being one, but nothing has been confirmed. Nothing has been talked about by them.
yeah,
I think
nothing's
it'd
been
be like
actually confirmed.
I think it'd be a mistake not to have one because I realistically, did they not only have one map the last time they brought one out for Black Ops 4? So they just need to make one map.
Yeah,
They have the
I
engine and
think it was
everything
one
ready.
map.
Yeah, and they have vehicles too. Like vehicles were a big component of that.
Yeah, I thought having helicopters would it was weird, but yeah, hopefully they have battle royale. Um, and Spec Ops mode as well. We can't try it, unfortunately, because PlayStation is ridiculous and paid to have Spec Ops exclusive for a year.
I think they might have backed off of that because there is Spec Ops. You can download it; it's free.
There's Spec Ops, but there's not the horde mode. The horde mode version of Spec Ops that you can't play until a year.
So Spec Ops isn't actually the horde thing that it used to be in like Modern Warfare 3.
Spec Ops was like a bunch of like co-op missions that you do with your boys, and horde was one of them.
Oh really?
Yeah. So, but I didn't really play Spec Ops in the last. I think it was only in like one of the Modern Warfares. It was like in 3 or 2. Spec Ops wasn't really a big game mode, so like I'm not really that sad that I can't play it. But yeah, I'm not a huge. Besides like campaigns and stuff, like I like story-driven like campaigns, but I'm not a big fan of horde games like Gears, like Horde and Gears and stuff. I just don't like killing NPCs. It's kind of boring to me, unless it's in like, you know, a campaign or if I'm playing like Fallout or something. But if I'm just killing waves of computers, it's kind of boring. But that's just me. But overall, I think Modern Warfare, this new one, they did a really good job.
What would you give it?
Out of 10, I'd probably give it an 8, because there are some things in like just a few bugs and stuff that they got to work out, but that's just because it's a new game. And there's still some things that are in every Call of Duty game that's in this one that annoys me. Like sometimes when you're getting shot and you're running and then you run behind cover, they still somehow manage to hit you and you die. I just know that every Call of Duty game does that, and it's so annoying. But yeah, I'll probably give it 8 out of 10.
I'd probably give it a 7. I feel like there's always those gameplay elements that can get fixed, but I feel like if they add a blackout mode of their own, probably kick it up to like, and with some modifications to the gameplay, probably kick it up to like an 8.5. It's not a bad game. It's really fun.
Yeah.
I like their take. I mean, Battle Royale is Battle Royale, but their take on it, like I like the open world Call of Duty type aspects instead of the closed map where, like you said, people will spawn in really bad situations. I mean, that's one
it's just
thing
new
that
dynamic to it,
helps
which
with
is
that.
really,
yeah. So I mean, like 7. Probably give it a 7 for now.
I do like that they made it crossplay, so Xbox players can play with PlayStation players and PC players, and we can all play together. So that's how gaming should be.
Yeah, I mean, every game should have that, especially if it's a third party game. I mean, you can have your exclusives to yourself, sure, but
yeah,
there's no reason why I can't play a sports game or a shooter game, and
yeah, exactly. I have all the systems, but everyone prefers one over the other, of course. So, you know, all games should, you know, there's people who prefer PlayStation, but their friends prefer Xbox, but they still want to play with each other. So it's good. All games should start doing this. But yeah, the cross-platform. Apparently, I heard that they made it so, like, because I know people say, oh, well, if you're using a mouse and keyboard, that's so, like, they have such an advantage. It's kind of bullshit. But apparently, only like people who are using a mouse and keyboard can only get into lobbies with people using a mouse and keyboard, or like,
and everything else you can match up, I guess, Xbox against PlayStation.
Yeah, or PC if they want to use a controller on their PC, but like that really defeats the purpose.
I mean, even Xbox supports a mouse and keyboard now, so I guess you can play with them if you really want to, if you want to plug a mouse and keyboard in.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be ways around it, so I feel like no matter what, we're just going to get into games with people playing on mouse and keyboard, so that's the only kind of downside.
I don't think we're going to get into games with those mouse and keyboard people unless we're using a mouse and keyboard on our Xbox. because I mean,
Yeah.
I
But
think
let's say
they've
let's say we're
separated
playing
that.
with let's say we're playing with one of our friends who is using a mouse and keyboard. I'm pretty sure if we're playing with him, we'll get into games where other people are using mouse and keyboards. So it would still be kind of annoying.
I possibly, if they don't think that through. I mean,
I have a feeling
we'll
that's how
see, I
it's going to
guess.
be. But yeah, we'll see. But
Uh,
overall, yeah, great game, great, good Call of Duty. If you're like me and we're one of those people who didn't play Call of Duty because you saw it like getting pretty bad, this is a good one. It's not my biased opinion because I stopped playing Call of Duty for a long time.
yeah.
But
We'll get on our last topic. We've been talking for 50 minutes, but we were going to talk about Wedge Antilles coming back to Star Wars, but I mean that's not really a big deal. There was actually something that dropped like literally 30 seconds ago. HBO canceled the Game of Thrones prequel starring Naomi Watts. I don't know how you feel about that. First
no
impressions.
way! Wow, no way. Well,
Yeah, it just happened a minute ago.
I thought I thought season 8 was horrible and it ended horribly. And yeah, I was like, this prequel, I was kind of down for it, but at the same time, I was like kind of not. So yeah,
Well, they have a
that's pretty
few
crazy though.
they have a few prequel projects in the works. So this one, the prequel, the pilot, I guess they didn't feel it was good, so they decided to not go with it. Um, I mean, it's a good decision because I mean, the last one was a rushed mess. You can kind of see where like some stuff could work if they didn't rush it, but they rushed it, and that's the bed that they're gonna have to lie in. I mean,
Dude, yeah, it's
they
just
decided to do
universally
that.
known. It's just
It's
universally
right,
known how
yeah.
bad
It's
it was. The kid, even the actors in the show know that it was bad. The writers know it was like they just. It's kind of funny. I honestly find it hilarious because it was literally, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion, it was the best show on TV, 1,000%. And
I
everyone was
stuck
so
with
excited. Everyone was so excited to see how this would end, and then it was literally just a big middle finger, and it's actually kind of funny. So now Breaking Bad, in my eyes, is the best the best show on TV, or that was on
yeah.
TV.
I mean, I said it before and I said it after they completely botched their landing, but like Breaking Bad was always, in my opinion, the best show that was ever put on TV. I don't care how much money you put into Game of Thrones, how much like of a spectacle element you have on top of it being a good story. Like Breaking Bad, I felt like they just cared the entire time. Even when they had their epilogue movie that just came out, that I believe we're gonna possibly do a review on still. I mean, they take care of their characters and they think stuff through. Like Game of Thrones, like at face value, they made decisions with characters, and you're like, what the fuck are they thinking? Because it's like I'm sure you can get there for the decision you made, but you didn't have the time for that. So why did you decide to make Bran this leader? I mean, you gave up on him for like the last season and a half.
Yeah, just
Spoiler
none of
alert.
that makes sense.
Like the one thing
Because
I
apparently
was
they were
fine with
slated to have
Daenerys.
two.
I was
Yeah, I
gonna say
like
I
that.
was fine with
I like that
Daenerys
way.
becoming evil, a little bit rushed, but it was the one thing that was like fine because it
I
wasn't.
like
It
that
was
too,
probably
but
the
they
one thing
rushed it
that they
and it was
rushed the
terrible.
least. They probably rushed that the least, and that's why I'm okay with her being evil. But then they rushed everything after that.
Because apparently they were slated for like two more seasons, and they're like, no, we just want to finish it. So that's why everything just tied up so quickly and rushed, and it was everything. The way Cersei like went out, like everything was just terrible. Sorry guys, there's a lot of spoilers here, but yeah,
I mean,
just
they should. I mean,
it was awful.
if they ran into an issue where all the actors were these big shots and you couldn't possibly get them together for full seasons, etc. You should have did the George R. R. Martin thing and not rush a book out. Don't rush your TV show out. Just
Yeah,
do an episode at a time when you have the chance, and then when you stockpile your whatever your ninth, 10th, maybe 11th season, then start releasing them. They'll be the proper ages because you got them when they were available. You didn't worry about a deadline. I mean, the season was already late. I don't know why you didn't just delay it more. I mean, in
Yeah.
looking back, if you delayed it, you wouldn't be in this situation. And
The thing about Breaking Bad too. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I was saying the thing about Breaking Bad too is that was a cable show. Like it was on AMC, and it was still like it had minimal swearing. It wasn't too like too it had violence, of course, but it wasn't like over the top. Yeah, and they still just crushed it. Because usually
it's a
those
cable
shows
show.
like, they're still good.
They had minimal swearing and everything, and they still got like iconic lines. Like he said, "You're goddamn right," when someone else would have just shoehorned like an F-bomb in there, and like
fucking
you
right
can
or
still
something.
think of you can still think of iconic things that happen in that show. I mean, I stand by like I was like I watched it. It was over. I could kind of like fill in the blanks on what they were trying to go for. So I'm not appalled. Like I think it was a bad season ending, but like I stand by the fact that the throne being destroyed by the dragon was like the worst decision I've ever seen made in any movie.
Yeah. Oh my god. That was just so. God, I can literally go on for hours about. I
just want
that finale in that last
season.
But gee, yeah, that I can just. I don't even want to think about it anymore. It gives me PTSD sometimes.
If they were completely rushed in making the season finale, they should have had that battle with the Night King and all the White Walkers go on for like 4 episodes and just have the world end. Just have the Night King on the throne.
Even the Night King thing too, like they set up this huge beef with him and Jon, and then it just ends with Arya swooping in, and yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Jon could have had something good happen in his arc like later on, and I could have let that go, but like nothing happened after that. Because I do like Arya taking him out, but possibly because
I always go back.
It had some decent lines where it kind of like foretold that she was gonna do it, but.
I always go back sometimes, like for shows that I really like and rewatch them. Like Breaking Bad, I've seen more than once. But now, like, I'm not going to do that with Game of Thrones because I just know what comes of it. I just know what happens at the like how bad it is. So like, what's the point? It just tainted the whole show for me. I hate the word taint, but it tainted the whole show for me.
They could have it would have been so much better if they had a bad opening season and then they ended it on a good note, because then at that point it's what have you done for me lately? They literally did it at the very end.
Yeah, that's why I kind of find it so funny, but yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, so I mean, we got derailed to complain about the main series. For
I kind of got to vent a little bit here.
So I mean, your last.
The spin-off being canceled. That's pretty crazy. I didn't think that was going to happen. I guess because of this whole downfall of the last season and the finale.
No, I mean, I don't think it's because of that, because they do have 2 in the works. This one, I don't have any idea what this series was about. I know the second one.
One of them was like a Children of the Forest. Children of the Forest.
So maybe it was this one. That sounds like a hard series to really make work, to be honest. Just saying that, but. I know the second series that's actually in the works is the Targaryen Civil War series, which I think they have a lot to go on.
Well, yeah, that's like a
to
whole
make
other
a good show. That's still happening. So that's the only reason why I don't think the fall of the main series was the issue with this one. I think they just didn't have something, so they didn't want to push their luck and just follow that up with a mess of a series again.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll see. I'll still be one of the people watching it, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch it for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we pretty much covered everything we wanted to talk about. Like always, we want to know what you guys think about these topics, and if there's stuff we missed, please let us know. Let us know what you want us to talk about.
Actually, just so I
yeah,
can
and-
interject one second, but we're
Yeah.
on Spotify now as well. I think we're in the process of being verified for iTunes and Google Play Music. So if you want to listen to us in the car and YouTube kind of handicaps you from being able to listen at your convenience, you can look for us on Spotify. Just search Movie Friends.
Yes, that is right. We are slowly moving on up in the world, even though it's not that challenging to get onto Spotify and to iTunes. But we are moving on up in the world. So
Well, I
yes,
mean, it's a
listen.
pain in the ass, but it's not hard to be put on Spotify. The process.
So yeah, listen to us on all those very convenient apps where you listen to podcasts, and like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And thanks for listening. Goodbye, my friends.
Comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified.